In literature, a strange paradox holds true. The tighter you focus on a specific, hyper-local landscape, the more universal the story becomes. Gabriel Garcia Marquez proved this by turning the isolated Colombian town of Macondo into a mirror for human isolation and cyclical history. Khaled Hosseini followed this path, using the specific cultural backdrop of Afghanistan to explore the weight of guilt and redemption. Now, author Sheelam Bhadraiah enters this space with his novel Agandam, recently translated into English as Indivulsa. He grounds his narrative in the deeply specific culture of South India, focusing on the marginalized communities of the Telangana region. Dense cultural authenticity acts as a vehicle rather than a barrier. That extreme specificity is the essential engine required to deliver emotional truths on a global scale. The Petheto River functions as the novel's central protagonist, the pristine lifeblood for 18 subaltern, or marginalized, villages. The story begins with the first generation during the 1940s, anchored in the historical anti-Razakar movement. This was an era defined by physical oppression under the rule of Nizam-backed militias and ruthless feudal lords. The villagers responded with raw agency. Characters like Yenkati and Lachi embody a bloody resistance, wielding agricultural tools to protect their homes and their autonomy. By framing the violence so closely, the text reveals a battle for fundamental human dignity that is recognizable in any struggle against tyranny. The narrative pulls us into a modern-day university classroom where Professor Gopal lectures students Karthi and Wahida. This nonlinear structure connects the historical trauma of the ancestors directly to the digital present. We learn that the power structures have evolved. The descendants of the early feudal lords now wear the mask of corporate politicians, trading physical weapons for development and toxic waste to maintain control. The current antagonist, Pratap Reddy, systematically poisons the Petheru with pharmaceutical waste. The water that once sustained the villages has become a toxic hazard. This ecological sabotage triggers a diasporic fallout. The subaltern people are forced into brutal city slums, suffering intense psychological grief as their history is erased. The river's degradation serves as a direct mirror to the displacement of the community. In this narrative, the death of the ecosystem is the death of the culture. When pitching this novel globally, the most accurate comparison is Richard Powers' The Overstory, sharing its intense focus on ecological defense. But while Powers focuses on trees, Bhadraiah focuses on transgenerational trauma. The weight of the past tracks closely with the cyclical history found in 100 Years of Solitude. Bhadraiah maintains a tone of humanistic neutrality. He avoids melodrama, letting the stark realism of the displacement earn its own emotional weight. This timeline maps the evolution of oppression. In the feudal era, control was blunt physical force. In the modern corporate era, violence is systemic. The oppressor traded the machete for a toxic chemical barrel, visualizing a sophisticated form of control. This analytical portrayal of ecocide makes the hyper-local South Indian narrative fiercely relevant to a global readership wrestling with severe climate anxiety. The timelines converge as Karthi and Wahida unite. They carry the ancestral trauma of their grandparents into a world where they possess the digital agency of the present. Karthi weaponizes his smartphone. He uses the image of the Agandam, the eternal flame, to reignite a coordinated subaltern resistance. This creates the novel's central catharsis, the achievement of transgenerational justice. The pain of the ancestors is finally validated and avenged by their descendants. Systemic inequity requires more than survival. It requires adapting modern intellectual tools to actively reclaim a stolen history. Publishers should pitch this book into the booming cli-fi and activism-driven book talk markets, where the intersection of history and environmentalism is currently viral. Translation strategy is critical. The regional Yasa dialect must be preserved. This keeps the world-building distinct while allowing the universal themes of grief to resonate. Lead every marketing pitch with the Petheru River. It is the definitive symbol of the subaltern life cycle. The novel's transition from historical tragedy to tech-enabled equity is its strongest commercial asset. It offers a resolution rooted in empowerment. Agandam is a universal blueprint for resistance. It uses a specific regional history to build a framework that transcends language, geography, and time.